Okay, so I've got a couple of sections from the aforementioned novel that I'm hoping to get into shape by the end of this year. This could be, the novel's entitled Not to Mention a Nice Life, and it could be seen as a commentary on the post.com blow-up, or the pre-recession fantasy, or the post-recession reality, which I think is to say that things continue in cycles, and we've probably haven't seen the last of that, which isn't to say this is timeless, I hope. Take a guy. Let's say he's about my age, old enough to own his own condo and pay almost all his own bills sometimes. Who's young enough to be unmarried, but old enough to understand he's not getting any younger. Add a dose of fresh alienation. Not enough to be unhealthy, of course, but enough to enable him to function in a world full of a-holes, imbecility, and indifference. Take this guy and provide just enough stability so that there's no excuses, but plenty of alibis. Maybe he's estranged from too many old friends, or aggrieved about an absent parent, or perhaps he's just emerging from the wreckage of a ruined relationship. Or, probably, he's utterly average in every regard, except for the uncomfortable fact that, unlike almost everyone else he knows, he's aware of it. Listen, I'm just like everyone else, I think. I work for a living, I like my job less than I probably should. It's not my fault. I drink too much coffee, I don't eat breakfast, I forget to eat lunch, I remember to eat dinner. Oh, I remember. I piss sitting down, I shit standing up, I have nightmares constantly except when I'm asleep. I grind my teeth all day, admittedly in half-assed fashion, because talking, swallowing, and breathing interfere. But then at night I really get down to business. I grind and then dream about grinding, and above all, I have the ceaseless, scary taste of rust in my mouth. I suspect, in short, that I'm dying. I am, in other words, just like everyone else I know. I know. I'm not alone. I have a best friend who happens to be a dog. He's really good for me, reminding me to eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom, generally making sure I get out a few times each day. He walks me whenever he gets the chance. My favorite time is after work, when I re-enter the building and the walls and halls come alive, warm with the savory smells of homemade meals. I can never smell fast food, although that scent lingers in the elevator, as if ashamed to be associated with the honesty, the effort and industry of all these prepared productions. Nobody sits down to dinner anymore, but all around me people are sitting down, eating meatloaf or some sort of roast that's simmered on low heat all afternoon. Maybe there's even a pie prepared for dessert. Maybe inside someone's kitchen it's still the 1950s. And I remind myself that someday, if my cards play me right, I'll enjoy a real meal around a table and experience all that I've been missing during these efficient years of isolation. I'll clear the table and clean the dishes. I'll sit on the couch and take a crack at the crossword, or catch a made-for-TV movie, or run errands or consult a book of baby names for the offspring on the way. And eventually I'll work on improving my bad habits and attempt to overlook my wife's, those quirks that were so endearing in those early days. I will at last learn to communicate openly and as an adult. Mostly I won't be alone. My dog is a trooper. He's never called in sick a single day in his life, up at the ass crack every day, including weekends, stretched, eager, and anxious to take on the world, or at least take a walk. My dog takes his work very seriously and has succeeded in making more friends than I have. He doesn't discriminate. Men, women, cars, trees, other dogs, especially other dogs. He wants to meet everyone and he patrols the neighborhood like it's job, which of course it is. I can't help but admire this dedication. Thanks to him, I'm on a first-name basis with all the other dogs in my building, though I have a hard time remembering what to call their owners. Take this guy, an older man. I don't want to call him an old man, whose name I've never gotten around to establishing. And I sort of prefer it that way, as he provides me with a mystery I enjoy embellishing each time I accompany him. Where most of my neighbors are obviously what they are, mothers, fathers, bachelors, wives, working stiffs, senior citizens, anonymous law-abiding entities, this man alone retains, for me in my imagination, an enigmatic air. He wears a wedding band, but I've never seen or met his spouse. He's friendly, so much so that it initially took me a while to warm up to him. Maybe this is the way people see my old man. Yes, he's definitely someone's father. He's rolled up his sleeves to punish, praise, clean, counsel, inspire, admonish, argue, approve, second guess, support, and silence. In short, things I've never done. And I think I can't help myself. He's a way I'll never be. All of us, of course, are more or less the same. We live, we work, we sleep, we eat, we love, we fight, we forget. We try to remember, we think, we wear down, and then we die. In this regard, all living creatures are more alike than not. But humans are different. We know who we are, so we wonder. We can't help ourselves. Things like, what has that man done that I'll never do? What has he seen that I'll never see? What parts of the world he once lived in are gone forever, replaced by newer things that younger people not yet born will wonder about in time? I think, if I had lived in the 50s, that man might have been a spy, a professor, a pedophile. I would have called him a pervert, a recluse, a con artist, but above all, he most certainly would be a communist. If I had lived in the 50s, I'd eat an egg for breakfast each morning with either bacon or sausage or sometimes both. I would eat pastrami sandwiches, drink whole milk, and smoke endless streams of cigarettes. I'd be his father to as many children as God, most certainly a capitalist God, saw fit to provide. I'd live closer to my parents. I'd miss church service seldom on Sundays and never on holy days of obligation. I'd know how to fix my toilet and sink if they dripped. I'd never have had a shirt professionally pressed. I'd drive an American car, never wear a seatbelt. I'd have a job that I could actually describe in 1 or 2 words. I would, quite conceivably, be content. My dog is content. One thing is for sure, if my dog had lived in the 50s, he'd be content, just as he'd be content 50 years from now. After all dogs want is other dogs. I think my dog thinks I'm a dog. People aren't like that, which I suppose is why people love dogs. I and the older man love our dogs, and for a few seconds we watch them sniff each other. Hot enough for you? Yeah, well, it's the humidity. To ourselves, we say this. Then we go our separate ways, exchanging pleasantries. I say, have a nice day. Likewise, he replies, and then smiles. Not to mention a nice life. I smile and then walk away, still smiling. Who the hell does this guy think he is, saying something like that? How dare he say something like that? Unless he means it. No one says something like that, unless they're actually inconceivably content. I'm still smiling, and then the sobering thought sideswipes me again. This man is a way I'll never be.